going on, everybody? We welcome you back to another episode of San Diego Prep Insider. Christian Pedersen joined by David Ring from DR Player Development. Dave Ring is mouthing to our intern there. We got intern number 1 on the left. That's the dog. Intern number 2 is my child screaming in the background. So we thank you, as always, for tuning in. We're going to get to Dave's top 10. We're going to top game balls, Dave's dingers. I want to talk about what is going on with Crawford baseball stealing 16,000 bases so far this season. They seem to have the greenest green light in history. Dave Ring, though, has top 10. We start with that.
Everything. My list is long today.
Go for it.
We rolling. Now there's some movement in the top 10. I mean, there's definitely some guys beating up on each other. Granite Hill still remains number 1. Point Loma.
They're looming in the background.
Woo, that was bad. I'm gonna move them up to number 2. Point Loma is rolling.
Yeah, loom them up.
A couple huge wins. They beat Eastlake. They are rolling. Saints is still number 3. Cathedral number 4. Carlsbad at 5. They're 8-4 right now. And Patrick Henry, I got to move them down. They're down to 6-5. Had some tough losses, but I do see them as one of the toughest teams to beat in San Diego. Torrey Pines, they are rolling also right now. Brody Martin, really just a dog on the mound every time he gets out there. I got Eastlake at number 8. They're 6-5. I'm going to move LCC up to number 9 today. Their strength of schedule and how many wins they have is definitely given me some, giving them some votes from me. So, and University City, I still got them at the number 10 team. They're 10-2. Just playing with a lot of confidence right now. Had a huge win the other day that I'll talk about later in the show. But yeah, a little bit of discrepancies in the top 10. I think, lots of teams like Patrick Henry with 5 losses to start the year and 11 games. Not necessarily what I predicted, but these were against tough teams like San Marcos, who I do think like a team, like San Marcos is right on the cusp of making my top 10
Look,
also.
There are forgivable losses in every sport. And it's hard in sports like baseball and basketball where teams don't play games at the same speed,
right,
at the same strength, and all of that. Like football, when it's week 5 and you hit that halfway mark, you can usually take a pretty good sample size of consistently everybody has played 4 or 5 games. Where are we at? Right now, you're like, yes, some of these teams do have 3, 4, 5 losses, but then you look up and you're like, oh, that's in X, Y, or Z tournament. That's against Corona's Del Mar. That's against this. That's against that. Or they just played 5 games in 10 days out the gate because their coach wanted to put the gas pedal down and they just ran out of pitching on some of them. Or players hadn't gotten, there's so many extenuating circumstances that I don't put too much weight into the loss side of it until we get into league. Definitely. And then once we're like in that finalish stretch, and if you're really trying to tell me, oh well, they have all of these losses because I'm like, maybe they just played a really tough team,
definitely,
and they aren't quite there. The bubble to me, there are some interesting ones because there's Southwest El Centro. I think we have not talked about them a lot over the last 4 years, and they are a team that's on that bubble. Claremont is a team that I had not considered to be a top 10 team until this year, and now they look like they could have potentially some votes going down.
Coronado's 10-3.
Coronado is on that. Coronado is less of a surprise one. Coronado's is just one that they've been in the conversation.
They're on the
cusp,
that outlet for sure.
But to me, Southwest El Centro and Claremont were the two that I kind of had pegged as like, yo, that's interesting. They are having fantastic seasons, and they are doing it against decent enough opponents and also doing it by large enough margins that it pops off the screen to me.
And I say the last team to mention in that category would be Mount Carmel. Mount Carmel is a team that is very underrated every year, yet they play really, really tough teams. They're 7-4. Their strength of schedule is always the same every year, so Mount Carmel is a team that's really never on our radar, a team that at 7-4 could really, be a really tough team to beat towards the end of the season here.
Yeah, Mount Carmel is a team that for me consistently is just playing tough league games and takes some of those L's that you just sort of go,
Exactly.
okay, that's expected. Like, they had another great season, but we discredit them more than they deserve. Speaking of discredit more than they deserve, I want to talk about our segment on the show last week where we got under, I believe, and this could all be a misinterpretation of Instagram comments, but I think we got under the skin of the El Camino coach, saying that Zane Nordquist, like, the good for him for staying there at El Camino. That segment was entirely meant as a compliment of, in a world where we see kids pop up and then get convinced by cars parked in end zones or IG.
The high school transfer portal.
The high school transfer portal.
Let's just call
the
it that.
The dangly keys get jangled, and sometimes players leave. Or also sometimes guys just, they had played off season with guys for so long that they just lined it up that it's like, hey, you balled out for your freshman year, but come on over and join all of us over. Like, it just happens. So it was entirely meant to be like, this is a tip of the cap to El Camino for building a culture of keeping guys there and of using the talent that's in the community to grow linearly and consistently over all the years.
Exactly.
Dave, more on that, and then let's do game balls.
I agree with the compliment. It's similar to the Jackson Merrill, looking at San Diego, like, hey, listen, I'm going to stay here. I want to be here because of a lot of different circumstances, and it's not just the money, and man, what a cool day for Padres fans. Should I transition to dingers, game balls?
Let's go game balls first, please.
Should we go cycles? Should we go no-nos?
You go game balls, and then we will get to all these specific ones.
We've had some absolute dogs playing lately. So you said what first?
Start with game balls, please.
Game balls, okay. Listen, I got to give Jack O'Toole a game ball for Madison. He hit for the cycle the other day, 4 for 4 with 4 RBIs. This guy scored 20 runs in whatever. I think it's 14 games for Madison. I think they're 11-3 right now. What a fantastic day for Jack. Really one of the hardest workers that I know. You got to give a game ball out to Jack Cooey. He's a sophomore at Westview. For a sophomore, he's thrown 27 innings. He's got 37 Ks and under a 1.0 ERA. I mean, fantastic job so far. He just threw a complete game shutout against a school from Utah in the Lions tournament. So fantastic job over there. Parker Smith, Poway. You'll be hearing about him a little bit more as he gets older. He's still a young player for Poway. He's got 12 RBIs in 10 games, which kind of tells you the maturity level. I think he's going to come into his own a little bit more. We'll be seeing a lot of his name in the in the stats in the next couple of years. Huge no alert. Game ball to Christian Garcia. I'm going to take over for Bodie and just kind of throw some game balls to a pitcher here. Christian's a USD commit. He threw a no in the Lions tournament. Thank you, Kings. This was a 2-0 victory. Listen, his line was 7 innings pitched, no runs, no hits, 17 Ks.
Kind of crazy.
2 walks. I mean, what a guy. And like I said, dog, absolute dog. USD is getting a pitcher that can throw 7 innings, can throw, really can give you quality starts. And I think that's something that, is lacking in MLB. You look at how the MLB game is played. Everyone's like, short starts, and Garcia's built. His body he's just got a really big lower half. He's extremely built to throw a ton of pitches, and this is one of those games where 17 Ks, man. That's
where I'm saying the Claremont wins jump off the screen a little bit.
Exactly.
And even if that was a beatable team, to beat a beatable team by that degree where you throw a no-hitter with 17 strikeouts, to me that means largely what we've always said. There are some teams where they might not beat an open division team, but they could beat an open division team if you had their primary setup on the mound, or if you had their number one lineup out there. And I think Christian on the mound for Claremont is a team that could go toe-to-toe with anybody at least once.
I completely agree. We've talked about them last show. And last game ball really goes to a guy with a high batting average to start the season, Logan Cole, infielder for Torrey Pines. He's hitting .579. Torrey Pines is an interesting team to watch. They've got the pitching. They've got really scrappy hitting with Dolan Maher and Aiden Stroot. They're built for the playoffs as usual. I think Torrey's going to be a team that we really continue to talk about.
Well, Torrey is a team that also for the last couple of years has shown that they as a culture understand that baseball is just play your best at the end of the season. And they have come into the playoffs a couple of times as like, oh, that's a good Torrey Pines team. But you don't look at it and go, oh, that's the Torrey Pines team that is the favorite versus the field. But yet they wind up as champs, or they wind up in the finals, and they wind up doing this.
Exactly. They do everything well, in my opinion. They pitch, they play D, they play small ball. They've got guys that hit the ball to all fields.
Well, they don't panic in the regular season if they take a
Jack
couple L's.
Schwamberg went swamp donkey against Saints the other day. So you got guys that can pitch and hit dingers. I mean, just one of those things, man. Look at this guy. Look at this. You can get that on the camera.
World's most deprived intern.
I mean, have you ever had your belly scratched before, or is this the first time? Okay, Kings.
What a mediocre show we put on these people. I want to jump around. I talked about Crawford. Stolen bases, Dave. They are something that
seriously.
They are something that not every team subscribes to them being all that valuable. Some teams like them, some teams hate them, some teams are indifferent to them, some teams have guys that can steal, sometimes don't. Also, sometimes teams put them online more often than others in terms of the stats that get reported. But we got to talk about it because Jeffrey Krantz and Hector Fuentes from Crawford are currently in a battle for that number one spot in terms of stolen bases. Both from Crawford, both have 19 bags swiped this year. Also, though, in that top 10, Jesse Verdin, as I agree, is getting some camera time on Dave's story.
Fantastic.
Abraham Carrillo-Cerrone. There are 4 guys, Dave, in the top 10 in stolen bases from Crawford. All of them with double digits. Don't know what that means.
That means
statistically
when
speaking, other than just that's a crazy year.
A walk is a triple. An error is a triple.
I had said a walk is a double in my mind, but you're right. They might be just stealing both bases.
They've got it. They just got to be green lights galore over there.
Catchers, beware. You got to look out for the green light against Crawford. I think that we will ask Bodie what is the all-time leader in teams with stolen bases, but Crawford may be on that track this year. Wanted to give I had talked about ERA a couple shows ago. I want to talk about strikeouts now because we have some people with 3 guys over 50 strikeouts. Zane Nordquist, Aaron Gonzalez from Olympian, and Carter Tucker from Imperial. Behind them, though, it is a great year for strikeouts. We got A.J. Curry from UC. We got Wesley Dill from Palo Verde. Jacob Janata from Valley Center. Chris Alcaraz from Borrego Springs. Jose Salcedo from Southwest El Centro. Drew Wright from Palo Verde. Sebastian Martinez from Southwest San Diego. They round out the top 10. But if you go down, Dave, right now, 33 guys have registered at least 30 Ks. It's over
I can see that.
Over 100 guys have registered at least 20 Ks this year. 106 guys with 20 Ks in the San Diego section right now. It's a good year. We're having a good year offensively. We're just having an all-around good year of pitching. What do you got next in terms of your long list to talk about today?
Well, I mean, the dingers have been off the charts. Shout out to Ethan De La Cruz leading the county still for Oceanside. He's got 6 bombs.
Which is the school record. So congratulations to him.
It's fantastic.
Already a historic year. Keep on going, buddy.
Dude's got really good swing. I got a chance to see, you posted one of his bombs the other day. I mean, dude's built to hit with power to the pull side. The bomb that I hit, or that he hit, I saw was really good backspin. I mean, man, fantastic. Stay hot, brother. Jake Robbins over at Claremont, he hit a bomb in that no-hitter game for Claremont when we talked about when Christian Garcia threw a no-no. He's up to 3 swamp donkeys now. A guy that doesn't really hit a lot of singles. He doesn't get cheated up there. He's a guy that, hunts the heater, loves to hit pull side. I think he's definitely a big reason why Claremont's playing with some swag right now. Hank Hansen for La Jolla, he hit an absolute piss missile the other day. It went about 400 feet. I don't know if it landed yet, but dude's an absolute beast. I mean, he looks like a linebacker at the plate. Really fun guy to watch. He hit a bomb. Like I said, he's got 2 on the season now. Josh Kaplan, playing for University City, one of the most exciting teams in San Diego. He had a 3-run blast late in the game. It was a tying 3-run blast to help propel the team. They won eventually later in the game, and now they're 10-2. Fantastic start to start the season for the University City Centurions. Caden Hermson Escondido, he's got 2 dingers. Ben Williams at Helix, he's got 2 home runs. Alex Harrington, couldn't leave him on the list. He's got 2 dingers, and he's hitting .429 with 8 extra base hits. He actually, just like Jack O'Toole, hit for the cycle earlier in the week. Dude just hits, man. He's and if you look at his stats, everything he hits is an extra base hit. Lots of triples, lots of doubles, and a couple dingers. Fantastic start for him. Evan Hall, San Marcos, electric walk-off dinger versus Patrick Henry. He turned on a fastball, deposited it over the left field wall. I mean, San Marcos was absolutely fired up after that. Really cool to see he's got 3 home runs on the season. Interesting player. I'm a big fan of Evan Hall. Extra athletic, super twitchy. Reminds me of kind of like a JT Realmuto build, where he's kind of like a taller hitter and definitely knows how to hit it hard. So I think San Marcos is a team that is on my radar, especially to really crack the top 10. They've been beating some really tough teams lately.
Well, and we've seen that once San Marcos gets a couple of dudes who know how to hit pop flies to left, that those home games start turning into W's.
Exactly. Yeah, and you play to win the game. And I was listening to a Gary Sheffield story one time, and he was talking about playing at Fenway, and he knew the guy was going to throw him a slider away. He hunted it. He was looking to hit the ball off the Fenway wall. And listen, I think that's a big part of playing at the next level, is learning to play to your team strengths, play to the field strengths, and not just be a one-dimensional player. It's a really good comment, and I think it's something that, hey, if you can learn to do something really well in the high school level, it's going to play at the next level for sure.
And also it's just, that's one where you can let them take some losses on the road early in the season at some tournaments, at some away games, and then factor in, they got a little bit of a home field advantage that they play in. Ostensibly, San Marcos is the Yankee Stadium of the San Diego High School, or at least San Marcos's left field is Yankee Stadium's right field.
Yes.
If you can smack it there, it looks like an absolute moonshot, no matter what angle you film it
100%. And the game, we know the game is built for pitchers to succeed, and it's a reward, right, to play at that field. But think about the confidence that it gives a lot of those players. You play at La Jolla Country Day.
There are a couple of bandboxes.
You see a lot of those guys really confident hitters, and I think that's something that translates to the next level. So,
and to me, it translates into home wins down the stretch.
Totally.
Like you said, San Marcos works its way into the top 10. Not that they weren't a top 10 team all season long, but the wins really start to show out when you're playing more than half of your games at home.
Just
down
good
that
vibes.
stretch. Good vibes. Yeah,
I mean, I've seen a lot of these home games, like you said, just have incredible fan bases and people in the stands just vibing. The game is exciting to watch right now. These high school bats aren't limiting power. They aren't taking away bombs. It's fun to watch. So.
And all without torpedo bats.
And the torpedo bat
doing it with torpedo bats.
Taking storm.
But no, you're absolutely right. It has been an electric year. Is that all of the dingers? What else do we got on the list this week?
I've gone through everything so far. Want to talk about anything else?
No, man. We are at the 20-minute mark, which I always think is kind of where people lose interest after 5 minutes once we show them a dog upside down. Just look at. So we appreciate all of you putting up with the chaos and lack of professionalism that has become this show. But no, I think that we're right at that point where once the Lions tournament is over and everything's behind us and we get through spring break in the next 2 weeks, then we switch from exactly. Then we switch from being in the hunt dog days to down, like then we're in the let's talk about league. We can start doing hypothetical playoffs and all that. So this is just the fun part. This is just the let baseball come to you, and
this is a busy week for guys. 4 games in 4
it.
days,
and don't be like too focused on oh my gosh, Cathedral lost this one and that one, and LCC did this one and that. Just enjoy baseball getting played. Go see that homeboy hit a triple or that guy had a good start. Just take the little bits away from it for the next couple of days. Enjoy some more baseball. That's where I'm at in the season, and I am loving it. And we will
and
tell
go
next
Padres,
week. Go
man.
Padres.
Off to an incredible start, right?
Yes, absolutely. Go Padres.
Fun.
We will always be Padres fans, even if we are just a high school sports show. Until then, talk to you guys next week.